Oh, look at that. It's 11 o'clock on the west coast of the United States. It is, I don't even know what freaking time GMT because of daylight savings change, but this is cBas After Dark for the 8th of March, 2015. Thank you for watching, whether you're live. Thank you for watching, whether you're on recorded video cast, Tron, whatever. Coming up, I'll look at some news, whatever the hell. I'm sorry, I was reading a tweet that Deion Sanders wrote about Justin Bieber, and God, it was just so complimentary. The most fun he's had in a long time hanging out with Justin Bieber. Oh, good Lord God. I'm sorry. If Justin Bieber is the best you can do with, I could have done my hair. If that's the best I can do, I should not have a video cast. But we'll look at some news. We will maybe take your calls if you want. I sort of run the risk, I feel like, of taking calls on a night when I make fun of other people for being like crank called on what used to be called public access television, but we do have a little bit of that going on tonight. A 10-minute clip I found. I almost feel like I want to start off with that just because it was so much fun. But before that, I will talk about my little review and discovery of a show called Battle Creek. It's by the people who did the, what can I say, Breaking Bad. I never watched Breaking Bad. I've heard it was fantastic. I know I should watch, but I never did. Also, the program that is on currently called Better Call Saul, which is sort of an unrelated but slightly related prequel to Breaking Bad, whatever, by the same writers and production staff. The show I discovered was called Battle Creek. It was good. I'll just spoil it right now and tell you I really liked it, and I'll tell you why coming up. By contrast, other shows I have watched recently, and it makes me sad because I've seen other people sort of really like the show that I poo-pooed last night, which was The Last Man on Earth. Starring, I thought it was Bill Hader from Saturday Night Live, but it's one of the other guys from Saturday Night Live, but it doesn't really matter because I feel like the show is just horrendous. I laughed exactly twice at very small little jokes in the first 10 minutes. After that, I'm sitting there trying to like it, but it's just fucking stupid. I mean, it's not Foxworthy for one thing. Like, I mean, hold on a second here. Brought to you by not Belch Beer, but Code Red Mountain Dew. You know, other people I've seen and talked to liked it. Nobody said why, but they seem to appreciate it for whatever it is. I've not felt like it was excruciating to watch a TV show this much in a long time. It was really difficult for me to watch that show. I was trying really hard, and here's the thing: I was trying to like it, and I made sure to sit through the entire thing to make sure it didn't get good in the last 5 minutes or whatever the hell. Because frankly, I've gotten on a lot of people's backs about, you know, oh, I watched Star Trek: The Next Generation. It's not for me. Yeah, you watched the first season, and everybody who knows anything about Star Trek knows Star Trek: The Next Generation got good in the third season, not before. The second season was afflicted by a writer's strike. I watched Deep Space Nine. No, you watched the first year of Deep Space Nine. It got good in the third or fourth season, just like Star Trek: The Next Generation. Oh, I've tried therapy. Therapy is not for me. Yeah, you tried one therapist once who fell asleep during your session, and you think all therapists are like that. Oh, I tried mood-elevating medication. I took Prozac. I took Xanax. It worked for a while, but then, you know, the problem came back. I got news for you, motherfucker. It didn't work. If you took Prozac for a while and, you know, then went off it and your problem returned, the problem is not solved. You did not, I mean, and I'm not saying you should have continued to take Prozac necessarily, but there's a whole spectrum of medications out there that people afflicted with certain emotional problems can and should explore and try. And if you haven't adequately explored as many of them as possible, then you haven't tried enough. You have not tried to fix the problem. It's like, oh, you know, I got the flu. Or, you know, I don't know, flu is a good example. I got an illness, some kind of physical sickness. I got measles. I got rabies. And, I tried taking Tylenol. I took medicine for it. It didn't work. Okay, you took the wrong medicine. You didn't try adequately to take the correct medicine. You didn't get properly diagnosed, maybe. Maybe, you have a particular body chemistry that didn't work for you. But one way or another, you failed to fix the problem. And to say that, oh, I've tried medication when you've tried two is bullshit. When you say, oh, I've tried therapy and I'm not going to get used to the idea of going to a therapist for years because that is so depressing, says the person who's sad and alone and depressed and sleeps all day on their day off watching reruns. I mean, I watch many reruns of many shows that I love and I get enormous joy from them still. I wouldn't watch them if I didn't. But the people who can't figure out why their life sucks and why nobody wants to hang out with them and why they're alone and blah, 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 when they're not actively trying anything new or trying to have a solution. Here's the thing. I'm not a therapist, okay? I have a psychology degree, but I'm not a therapist. I'm smarter than your average person, so I mean, I'm pretty good intuitively sometimes, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist, and frankly, my life sucks right now. Do not come crying to me for any kind of fucking sympathy when, you know, your life sucks less than mine, and I'm not bitching to you. Should I be more compassionate? Maybe, but I'm not going to go, oh, you poor baby, it'll be okay. I'm not going to give you false platitudes if you're my friend, because that's blowing smoke up your ass. That is not being real. And, you know, I have a real problem with people who sort of cross their arms with indignance. Indignance, is that a word? Cross their arms indignantly and decide that, well, life just sucks and I just suck and, you know, everything, you know, it's like, you don't suck as a person. All right. I know you to be a good person. Why not try to fix it? Oh, because I tried that. No, you didn't. Not really. It's just like sort of the Star Trek thing. I tried Star Trek. It's not for me. Oh, except Voyager. I like Voyager. Again, anybody who knows anything about Star Trek, I mean, different strokes for different folks, and I like my share of shitty shit. Believe me, I do. Benson. Once it's not shitty, but by today's standards, it's sort of corny. Let me think of something truly bad that I just like. I don't know, Gordon Ramsay's TV cooking game shows. Are those bad? I mean, a lot of people watch that, I guess. So, but that's not saying it's good. I'm trying to think of something truly shitty. Because here's the thing. When I detect something is truly shitty, like that Last Man on Earth show, I've stopped watching it. I mean, I didn't stop watching the episode. I watched the full hour, which I think was actually 2 episodes back to back because I think it's a half an hour show. Mercifully, it is a half an hour show. But I watched an hour of it last night. And as bad as it was watching the guy from Saturday Night Live sort of with his scraggly fucking beard and his, you know, taking a bath in beer and then cutting a hole in the diving board of the swimming pool because I mean, he's literally the last man on earth. He lives in Tucson, but it's not really Tucson that he is shown driving around in. You know, I mean, it's just this stupid concept. I can see the meeting that it came from. And the Fox executives there, and this guy from Saturday Night Live going, okay, I got a great concept. He's the last man on earth. But then he finds a woman. And then they you know, but she thinks that you still should park in parking spaces even though there's no humans left. She thinks you still have to get married before you have sex because she's a traditionalist. And, you know, I mean, and, you know, and it's really great. They'll get into all these crazy adventures, just the two of them. And she wants the rules of the old world to still apply. I mean, it's like, so good Lord fucking God. You know, I can see that's a shitty TV show. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like that. But, and, you know, Voyager is Star Trek, so I can't say I completely hate Voyager. But anybody who knows anything about Star Trek knows Voyager is the worst for several reasons. I've looked into this thoroughly. One of the reasons is one of the rules in the writer's room on Star Trek Voyager was no arcs, no storylines that continue from episode to episode. So each episode had to be a fully formed nugget without anything that could be a tendril to a later episode, you know, for the most part, except, you know, then they replaced the young girl, Kes, with the hot 7 of 9 Borg chick with big boobs as a blatant thing to get viewers of straight males' eyes glued to the screen no matter what. And frankly, that's the only reason a lot of straight guys like that show is because 7 of 9 has big boobs and is really hot. Sort of like the only reason a lot of straight guys like the Star Trek Enterprise show is because of the hot Vulcan chick, Jolene Blaylock, who, you know, gets almost naked in a couple of episodes, or mostly naked, or naked but you don't see anything, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, these people have, you know, it's the same reason people sort of like Robin, what's her name on HLN, the CNN related cable station in the morning. Robin Meade is her name. I mean, she's ridiculously, horribly bad, but she's a hot chick with her arms and with her sexy arms that, she wears dresses that have no arms. So you see her sexy arms, and she's got a sexy haircut and sequins on her nightgown, and she's looking at the camera, not sitting behind the desk, but on the edge of the glass anchor desk, crossing her legs with her little short skirt and, trying to call herself a news broadcaster and calling it a news show. No, she's blatantly using her sex appeal to keep eyeballs glued to the screen at any cost. Kind of like the reason many cable channels put the breaking news banner up on the screen, but I digress. There's a million, my point was there's a million reasons, valid, formed, reason. Even the actors and writers on that show in many cases do not like Star Trek Voyager. So don't tell me, Janeway's my captain. No, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and I'm not afraid to say that. I consider the 2009 J.J. Abrams movie Star Trek. Well, nobody gives a shit what you think, because here's the thing. You're not an expert on Star Trek, and, it's sort of like being an expert on the Ford Mustang. If you take off that little horse logo and you put a Chrysler LeBaron sticker on it, is it still, whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you take one of the trademark things of a thing and change it, from now on, all Ford Mustangs will say the Chrysler logo instead of the Mustang logo, or whatever the hell. Bonneville. Let's make it an apples and apples thing. The Ford Mustang becomes the Chevy Bonneville, right? They're just going to put Bonneville instead of Mustang. Is it still a Mustang? No. We're going to copy the styling of the Bonneville. We're going to change it but now the Mustang is just what the Bonneville used to be. Guess what? It's neither. It's actually neither a Bonneville nor a Mustang. It's just a cheap abomination. And that's essentially what J.J. Abrams did with Star Trek. He decided to handpick the things he liked, say fuck everything else, including the history and the sort of the history of the future, if you will, that the many, many TV shows and movies of the prior generation had established, and throw them out the window. As I've said a million times, if you made this 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie and called it Space Quest and not Star Trek, and had it James T. Jerk instead of James T. Kirk, and Mr. Spilk instead of Mr. Spock, and Mr. Snotty instead of Mr. Scotty, it would have been a good movie, because the plot itself wasn't flawed, but it did not fit into the Star Trek form. It is not a Star Trek movie. It really, truly is not. I could go on and on about that, but I kind of want to talk about psychics getting crank call. I've done this a couple times now. I think Sunday night's a good night to do the crank call thing. I think that's where I did it before, when I discovered the story of the the Globe, Arizona Circle K people who got crank called and bit down on the joke to the point where they had smashed the front windows of the store with fire extinguishers and deployed fire extinguishers in the store because they were being told by some guy on the phone that they were calling from Circle K Central and they were getting silent fire alarms indicated. So they tricked these people into blowing I don't ever know if they caught the people who called the Circle K employees. That would be an interesting follow-up. But then I got into sort of crank calling of cable access hosts in the 90s. You got to see this. This is a long, maybe we won't watch the whole thing, but I will watch a piece of it because, it's gorgeous. I tell you, it's gorgeous. I believe this is it. Yes, here we go. Right here. Psychic gets crank called nonstop for about 10 minutes. We won't watch the whole thing. We'll watch a couple of minutes of it and you will see.
Why are these people cursing at you?
My friend, they have nothing better to do.
Listen, man,
I can't hear you. Good evening. Good evening.
Your mother.
Thank you.
Your mother.
Good evening. Good evening. Hello. Uh-huh. I swear these people in New York City. Good evening.
You suck.
Uh-huh. Apparently you do too. Good evening.
Can I get a psychic reading?
Honey, you don't call here asking for stuff like that. This is not a bodega.
This is not a bodega. Okay, I will say this right now. I'm going to pause it because he says that repeatedly a couple of times in this, and I don't understand the meaning at all. This is not a bodega? What the fuck is he talking about? This is not a bodega.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to help you. This is not a bodega. Don't call. Let me get psychic energy reading. This is not a bodega, honey. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello, honey.
Yes. Hello?
Honey, get on off my phone here. Good evening.
Get on off my phone?
Good evening.
Asshole.
Thank you. Thank you. I bet yours is quite wide, isn't
Your
it?
mother.
Uh-huh. Yours is all stretched out. Good evening. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello, honey. Good evening. You enjoy your life, honey. Good evening. My Lord. Good evening.
Hi, how are you?
Honey, I'm better now. How are you?
I'm good. That's good to hear. So what is your show about?
Get your life together, honey. Get the hell
Get
off
your
my
life
phone,
together,
too.
honey.
Good evening.
Hello?
Hello, my friend.
Oh, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, my friend.
Good evening. I was calling. I was hoping to get a.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a bodega, and it is not McDonald's. You ain't got a menu to look at here. You know it's about psychic energy. That's all it's about here. Ain't no guesswork. Can I get a
Can I get a
your answers you can get. Don't call here with this foolishness here.
Don't call here.
Ladies and gentlemen, with a little more time here, I said I was gonna help 4 people here. I ain't helped but 2. What a damn shame it's been. Good evening.
Good evening.
Go on somewhere. Good evening. My Lord. Good evening.
Hello?
Yes, honey.
Thank you for my...
Lord have mercy.
Lord have mercy.
Fuck you.
Yes. Another one of them fools. Another one of them fools. It's very creative, my friend. Very creative. Good evening. Really? Good evening. How are you? Yes. Good evening. Good evening.
My dick.
Really?
My dick.
Good evening.
Fuck you.
Oh, really? That's wonderful, honey. That takes a lot of courage to call help. Fuck you and hang up the phone. That's a lot of courage there. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for my dick, bitch.
Really?
Okay, you freak fuck face.
Really?
Look.
That's wonderful. That sounds great. I love that. I'm gonna see to it that you get bitten in the ass by a German Shepherd. A big old German Shepherd. Coming your way, my friend.
It's tremendous.
Good evening. Watch out for that German Shepherd.
Is this CB?
Gone somewhere. Ladies and gentlemen, running low on time.
Let me guess, it's not a
Good
bodega?
evening. I hope you're proud of yourself. You called out the line for somebody to need my help. Good evening.
Asshole.
Asshole.
Good evening. Good evening.
Okay, unlike the one I played last week, which was punctuated by a couple of edits, which is 5 minutes of so-called continuous prank calls, this has not been edited. I paused it here so I could talk, but I do not detect any VHS stop and then record moments or pause moments at all. This looks like a continuous stretch of people just blowing up this guy's phone lines. God, what he would do with just a simple phone screener.
Hey, mommy. Hey, you.
Good evening.
I'm also fascinated by why he leaves certain callers on longer than others. Certain ones that seem like they might be legit, he just detects and throws out right away. And then other ones that appear to be obviously wrong, obvious crank calls, he just kind of lets go.
What's going on here? What is going on here?
What is going on here?
Good evening.
I love it.
Is this free psychic?
Is this what? Good evening.
I don't want to hear.
Good evening.
Good evening.
He's hanging up and picking up the line so fast, he's doing conference call mode.
I'm so sorry about this. I'm so sorry about this here. Good evening.
Good evening. Hey, I want to
My Lord.
Is it a woman or a man? I think it's a man.
Yes.
I've been operating and talking like it's a man.
LCB.
Yes. Good evening. Yes.
Hey, mommy. Hey, look, mommy.
Lord have mercy.
I think I see facial hair. That's why I assume
Good
it's a man.
evening, sir.
How are you, my friend? Hey, I'm a musician. That's what I'm talking. Oh my goodness. What a tangle web we weave when first we got to see. Good evening. Hey, what's going on?
I can't turn it off. I'm sorry. I got to keep watching.
Hi, I need help.
Yes, you do, honey. Good evening. Good evening. I got to go. Y'all done hurt my feelings so much. Hurt my feelings. Good evening. Hello? Hello? Here you think? Yes?
It's about a 5-second delay.
Yes.
Not like a bleepable kind of a delay. It's just sort of a technical delay from based on, how long it takes the phone line to go over the microphone to the cable station, out to the TVs, and then out the speaker of the TV and be heard by the person on the phone. It's about like a 3 to 5 second kind of a delay. Again, not the bleepable, dumpable kind of delay. If this show had that, we wouldn't be hearing all this.
Good evening. Yes. Good evening. Ladies, I got to go. I ain't helped nobody that I wanted to help here.
He's got 3 minutes left of this.
4 people didn't do that. I was trying to send out positive energy. Guess what came back? Nothing but negative energy.
Shouldn't you have known that if you're a
For those
psychic?
of you out there, that love CB, as I love you, I'm so sorry. You know this ain't the way it usually go here. I get a few Rudy Goose callers acting a fool, but it's never like this. And again, I'd like to apologize for that.
I'm pretty sure this is New York City.
New York City.
Yeah.
I love you anyway. You treat me wrong.
You treat me
What
wrong.
Jesus said? OJC said, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They don't know. So I got to forgive them.
The comments are funny. He's hanging up alleged callers, camera
You
angle.
got to get it together. You really do. I love you. But you got to get it together.
I would have called and said I was trying to reach the bodega.
I don't love you, nigga. You fuck.
Really? Honey, do you suck your daddy's dick with that filthy mouth?
Oh, hello. Yo.
Good evening. Happy?
Happy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I got to go. I really have got to go. You do it so wrong. You do it so wrong. Good evening.
Hi, ugly face. Yeah.
Good evening.
All right, I've kind of had enough of this guy because I see something down here I want to see. Christian Hotline gets pranked.
Someone who's written a story.
This looks good.
He says, I'm a newly born again Christian and would like to share my story of salvation with you. I was born in West Philadelphia and also raised there. I spent most of my days playing basketball on the playground.
This is clearly not in the United States based on those phone numbers.
But also chilling out and relaxing. But then one day, a couple of guys who were up to
Did it say where?
started making trouble in my living area. I ended up getting into a fight, which terrified my mother. As a result, she sent me away from West Philadelphia to the most peaceful area of Bel Air.
That's some fresh people in there.
Oh, okay. Okay. And I think there's some Mongolians on the system.
It's from a comedy.
Okay.
It's like he's out in the desert with his chroma key background.
Let me take this caller. George from my inspiration in life is a man I met in Nigeria called Ben Kenobi. He taught me so much about the force that spirituality has. It can be used for good and it can be used for bad. There's a light and a dark to everything. It's up to us to make sure that the light side of things outweighs the dark side. But in the kingdom of God, it's all about light, no darkness at all. In response to the previous email, there's a strong...
He's reading that it's a joke.
No problem. I just skimmed that one.
I just skimmed that one. That second emailer was like, in regard to that previous email, that's not real.
I just quickly go through some of these emails. So many emails here tonight. The devil is a bad devil.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, let's
West
see.
Philadelphia before the recession hit. I visited the playground where I spent most of my days shooting some basketball, but also just chilling out and relaxing.
I don't think that story is genuine. I think the guy is a clown. He's a joker. He's been sending that material to all the programs.
All right, okay, well, let's delete him.
Oh yeah, that was the same letter that the previous guy had read.
From the list.
Apparently, the story is, what he's been sending through is the story of the Prince of Bel-Air, the black guy.
Oh, yes, I know, yes.
But he just wraps it up in a way to make it look like it's a true story.
Okay, well, that's fine. I only read a fraction of it. Getting quite good, actually, at...
Let's actually hear that again.
Apparently, the story is, what he's been sending through is the story.
To view a channel such as yours, what made this all possible for me was the loving embrace of my auntie stationed in Bel Air. It was there that I first caught a glimpse of your channel and knew from that moment on that my circle of trusted faces had grown substantially. Upon one of my many visits back to West Philadelphia before the recession hit, I visited the playground where I spent most of my days shooting some basketball, but also just chilling out and relaxing.
All right, that was funny. I want to see C-SPAN get punked here.
You're on the Washington Journal. Go ahead.
All right, I would just like to thank you for taking my call, number one. And number two, you should go fuck yourself.
On the USA Today, Anne Arundel County, Maryland, Republican. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing?
Hey, good. I just want to talk about the illegal immigrants.
Go ahead.
Well, I'm one of the managers up at the McDonald's up in Anne Arundel, and even though they are illegal and all, they just do really good work because they're determined to try to get their lives together in America.
So, as a McDonald's manager, you hire illegal immigrants?
Like accidentally.
And how do you do it accidentally? Elk Grove, California. I think our leg was being pulled there. Go ahead, Elk Grove.
Hi, good morning.
Hi.
Hey, just wanted to make a comment, about this is the first time in any election that,
sorry.
I voted
Keep listening.
Democrat, and that's because, all of the one-way street that the Republican Party seemed to be going, it sounded an awful lot like Howard Stern's butthole.
All right, we're going to clear the lines, and we'll continue.
From Rhode Island, and the town is Quahog. You're on.
Quahog, Rhode Island.
Hi, I actually disagree with a couple of the people who just called in. I was actually in Iraq no more than maybe 3 or 4 months ago. Everyone there wants to leave. We don't want to be there anymore. We don't want to keep fighting. We just want to go home. We've been there for too long. We keep getting held over and held over. We haven't seen our family in years. I can't remember the last time I barrel rolled my wife.
Next telephone call, Fayetteville, Tennessee. Go ahead.
Is on at least for second, if not, of course, for first.
So I don't know what barrel rolled my wife is, but I have a sense that was not legit. Whatever it may, I assume maybe a sexual thing. I don't know.
Let's go to Clarence, Democratic line in Jacksonville, Florida, and hear what he has to say. Hi, Clarence.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Very exciting day here in America, the New Hampshire primary. I think it's very interesting to see how different this race is from previous races when you look at the amount of personality that you see in the Republican field. Herman King with his 999 plan, Rick Perry with his oops, Michelle Bachmann with her very hairy vagina.
Oh, excuse me, that was totally inappropriate. And we're talking about the candidates and what's going on in New Hampshire. Let's hear from Robin, who's a Republican in West Point, Nebraska. Good morning.
Okay, Mary, you're up. Hi.
This is Mary. I have a big cock I like to play with.
Oh. I don't know how Mary got through our Tanya, our screeners. Yes, Tanya.
All right. Spokane, Washington.
So even if you have a screener, it gets through sometimes.
I think he makes a good point. Are we going to start prosecuting every limo driver around? I think American overzealousness to get revenge for 9/11 is starting to go after everyone we can. The Spokesman Review out here in Washington, they printed a great article. It was written by Gladwin D'Souza, and he put it quite eloquently when he said,
Next call, Newark, Ohio. Another Republican call from Dusty, Washington.
hello?
Hi.
Hi, am I on air?
You are on the air.
Cell phone, that must be from the Stone Age here.
Let's go next to Lakeland, Florida.
It's almost like they have some kind of little sound device they're trying to get to push. They're trying to push like a one of those fucking jerk little stupid ridiculous devices with 50 buttons on them. Each of them has a different swear thing.
For your call, Richland, Washington, on our line for Republicans. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, I'd kind of like to touch on a few points that your first caller made. Primarily, I have a really big penis. I can suck up.
Next up is San Diego, California, on our line for Independence. Welcome.
Yes, good morning.
Circumstances as they change. Coit, Michigan. Jim, on our Republican line, please go ahead with your question or comment.
Yeah, thank you, C-SPAN. And Peter, you mentioned something about sharing the burden. And I just want to say, I go home every night, turn on the news, see these congressmen and women getting out of their limousines with their law degrees. But, for me, on Main Street, I'm still getting a $9 haircut, and, I drive a pretty nice van. And for that, unfortunate. But what I hate is that I'm becoming the one with the draconian policies. I'm becoming the vilified. I manage a Quiznos, and these punk kids come in, and, they expect a free bag of chips, as our deal used to be. But, times have changed, and I got to say, you want those Doritos? Well, cool fucking ranch, kid.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
What I feel like I respond to more than anything, and it's not cool to do this. I mean, here I am on a show with my own phone number. Fortunately, nobody watches. But you could literally call this phone right here with this phone number right here and prank call me, I guess. But it's not a prank call if I'm doing a show about prank calls, whatever. But I feel the build up to it is the best part, right? That's the meaty part where he was going on and on about, the politicians and their law degrees, getting out of their limo, all good talk radio, stuff for a caller to say. And, going on about, and I manage the Quiznos, and, the punk kids come in and ask for free chips, which our deal used to be. And it's just barely starting to go off the rails just a little bit. And then he's like, yeah, you want the fucking cool. I mean, he doesn't start out with like the psychic calls did with, fuck you, I can suck my own dick, whatever, right? This is a really long, rather well put together sort of train of thought that leads to trying to get a swear word on TV. If there is any downside to having the FCC regulations that make swearing on the air such a big deal, it is crank calls who get such a dopamine rush in their brain from calling up and saying the F word or something, offensive on the air. If it's sort of like, if we didn't make alcohol such a big deal, kids wouldn't be trying to, drink. The parents who let their kids have a glass of wine with dinner, or the cultures like France, where the kids just drink wine with dinner and that's just how it is, whatever. As a non-drinker, I'd be miserable there because nobody drinks water, and you are looked at as even weirder than in this country if you don't drink alcohol. But if we didn't have the prohibition on swearing, I feel like it would be less of a big deal to get a swear word on the air. But that said, let's look at some of these other ones. The one I really wanted to hit. Let's do a sports talk show. Now, there is no single lower form of human communication than sports talk, either radio or television. There's somebody stealing the THS logo and sound for their little video they're putting together. Whatever. Let's switch to it, though, and let's see about some sports calls. I love to see sports people getting crank called. What the hell? What is this? I don't give a crap about why this is supposed to be. Okay, here we go.
Dan, I'll just take off. In spite of recent actions, what do you think of Hollywood Hulk Hogan's recent takeover of the NWA?
Okay, he doesn't even look like he understands what that is.
Hulk Hogan or something like that.
Hulk Hogan in basketball? I don't think so. Listen, you're an eight.
And I recognize the logo in the corner there. This little logo here is actually a Canadian broadcasting company, if I don't miss my guess.
You're an NBA veteran. You've seen lots of young guys come in the league. How good can Sharif be? Jerry and Suri, your question to our panel.
Yes, I'd just like to pleasant good evening to everybody. I'm just concerned about the Ethicikenem thing here. I was wondering if that may have been interacting with the player's performance and everything, and just wondering your response to any of that.
Go ahead.
Well, I don't think the players are too bothered by ESSA.
Well, don't fall down on them, sport fans. They're going to be there. George Langley, your question for Orlando.
What the?
Well,
I don't even get what that was supposed to be.
On that, but there was 40 minutes. Cliff and Burnaby, your question for Kurt.
Ah, yeah, everybody. Yeah, Cliff from IHOP here.
Cliff from IHOP here, and it started off with Dr. Nick from The Simpsons. That was pretty damn funny. I got to see a little bit of this one. Live TV prank to pro 9/11 communist public access talk show host Jack Jersowitz. All right, let's see a little of that. This may or may not be as entertaining, but okay. Since '94, Jack Jersowitz's live political show has been the target of prank callers. On the show, Jack, a revolutionary communist, publicly supported the 9/11 attack on the Pentagon. The video contains VHS recordings of episodes originally aired in 2002, which have been converted to DVD and then uploaded to YouTube. Okay, well, that's really great. I'm going to turn off the annotations so we don't have to look at more of that stuff, but let's see what we can see as far as this.
Here becoming a big wheel in the government, the world was changed and moved a little bit. We go to the phone. Good evening, you're on Brainstorms. Hey, why don't you tell us your name so everybody out there can know what an idiot you are?
The other thing I like occasionally is that guy. Let's go back for a second and look at me, because he, thought, and maybe it's to his credit, I don't know, he kind of seemed to think that he had the jauntiest, most intellectual reaction. Hey, why don't you tell us your name so everybody knows what an idiot you are? Aha, I got him. Well, no, they still are not going to say that. Even if they say a name, they're not going to say their real name. And that guy just laughed. Like, I feel like the host of, this guy is obviously kind of a fringe guy at the start of it, but I feel like at the same time, trying to one up the trolls that are calling in is not going to get you anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Here's something called Jesus Chat Line. I'm not a religious guy. In fact, I look down upon religious people for the most part as silly and easily deluded. So let's just see a little bit of the Jesus Chat Line video and see if that's any funnier. This is 42 minutes worth of stuff. And again, I'm going to turn off both the annotations and skip past whatever stuff they've stolen from THX. Oh, that appears to be like the theme music. All right, I'll switch over to this here, and let's see the Jesus folks getting pranked.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another show of the Jesus Chat Line. My name is Stephen Chilton, and I'll be your co-host for this evening. And I'm also here with Richard Burnish. Go ahead, caller.
I'm not gonna use it. Fuck you too, bro. Thanks.
And I also love it when they're sort of so flabbergasted or so confused that, I don't know, the area code here indicates it's the East Bay of San Francisco. It's in Oakland.
Welcome to the Jesus Chat Line. Go ahead, caller.
On Facebook.
And again, I don't understand what that's supposed to be.
Okay. Oh, and you know what? We have the wrong number up on the screen. There we go. Thank you. Thank you to Chad. We got the right number up now. There, the number you see on your screen now, 510-355-9879.
And why is the phone ringing?
And welcome to the Jesus Chat Line. Go ahead, caller.
I'm an idiot, believe me. I'm an idiot, believe me.
And again, the echo zone.
Go ahead, caller. You're on the air.
Oh. I'm sorry, 1 second.
1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, I'd like to share a story with you, and I have a question afterwards. Is that okay?
That's perfectly fine. Go ahead.
Okay. So, my husband and I had tried for 16 years to have a child. I thank God every day for letting me live. And I also have a question. So,
okay, well, thank you for your story. And by the way, at the beginning of your story, did you say intervention?
Yes, but I still have a question.
Okay, that's just a little joke. Okay, go on, caller. Now, go on with your question. Yes.
Has anyone really been far even as decided to use even go what to do look more like?
Okay, thank you very much.
He got a sense that was fake.
Let's give this one a shot. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the Jesus Chat Line.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you this evening?
Good. I just want to touch on a bit of a sensitive topic here, and I was curious. What do you think about I know a few people in New York City, and it's kind of spreading around about liking men, and I'm kind of curious what your view is on that.
Liking men, and I'm assuming you're not talking about, playing poker or coming over to watch the ball game.
No, much more than that.
Okay. Well, we have a very clear stance on homosexuals, and what we believe is that it's wrong, quite frankly.
It's wrong. There you have it.
And we believe that all homosexuals must change their ways.
Are they going to go to hell?
Well, not if they change their ways, they won't. And everybody has a chance to do the right thing, and in the eyes of the Lord, everybody has that chance, no matter who
I'm curious about this next one. Trolls trolling trolls. What is this? They have 2 hours to make $58,000 in order to get out and get everything back. They did a shitty job making it all believable. Okay.
Cash or cigarettes? We need cash to get out of here, but we also need cigarettes to keep the rapists at bay.
I'm going to send you some of that, and I'm going to send you some green and some more green. The two types of green. You got the green over there with 10,000, and they got the other green. It does something different. I want to say online.
Okay, let's look at this one call. This is different from that 510 area code thing.
Amen and amen.
Thank you, Corvo.
Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you so much, and God bless you.
God bless you too.
This looks like it's going to be
Brandon
good.
and Brampton, and we'll get to Carol in Toronto and Ryan in Oakville just a moment. Just hang on. Thank you so much for waiting. We really appreciate it. But Brandon in Brampton, welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm great. And you?
I'm good. What I wanted to say actually was, I'm a pastor. I'm a pastor actually in Brampton.
Yes.
And I actually I'm a very religious person. I believe in God and everything,
Yes.
God, but I just lately the only hope I've had is smoking marijuana. It's like the only hope, and the thing that I feel is not that bad because as long as you keep it marijuana,
yes,
it won't go beyond that, right? I feel like it's safe and it's fine to do, and I think it's overrated, over exaggerated on how the religion everyone looks at it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why do you use it?
Well, have you ever read the Bible? Have you ever read the Bible while you're on marijuana?
No. Can't. No. Never. Well, why do you use it?
Because it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
What's beautiful? What makes it beautiful? You mean the Word of God? No, you're a pastor.
I'm a very proud pastor.
Okay. Is it a pastor of the gospel of Jesus Christ?
Yeah.
You're born again Christian.
I'm a born again Christian, baby.
Okay.
Baby.
So what you're saying is that you need something else other than the Word of God. It's not enough.
Well, what they call the Word of God obviously isn't enough, but I still believe in it.
Well, what do you believe, may I ask?
I believe in everything you believe, sir.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No. How do you? Because I believe that the Word of God is powerful and effective, sharper than any double-edged sword. It is able to divide soul and spirit, joint and marrow, and it's able to go down in the deepest recesses of your heart.
Here we go. This is getting good.
That's what I believe.
That's what I believe too.
I mean, then why do you need marijuana?
Because I still need that. See, I believe everything you believe.
No, you don't. We don't believe the same things. You see, I believe in a God that has given us a name that's above every name. That the name of Jesus, every other name must bow. But you're saying to me that the word of God is not enough. Jesus Christ dying on the cross for you, as you said, you're a pastor. Jesus Christ dying on the cross for you. That is not enough. When he said, it is finished, you're saying it's not enough.
What I'm saying is,
how could you say that?
Okay,
how could you hold it out as a pastor and say, I need something else? In other words, the death of Jesus Christ is not enough.
What I'm saying is that at my sermons that I perform at, like that I
He sounds like he's 12.
people that come to my church, I tell them that it's not what's it called, Jesus Christ has one sacrificed for us, right? But it does not make him the most powerful human being in the world.
It doesn't make him the most powerful human being in the world? Is that what you say?
It's overrated. Tomorrow I could be crucified. Are you going to be praying for me praying for me the next couple hundred years?
Oh man, I messed it up again. Sorry. Switching back.
Thank you so much for calling. Thank you so much for calling.
Sorry about this Winx Media thing. It does look like he's...
God is so good. God is so good. Carol in Toronto. And we get to Ryan and then Angela from Manitoba shortly. Carol in Toronto, welcome.
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 I kind of just sensed that other caller was just so far, but you know what? Let's just pray for him.
Let's just pray for the caller who smokes weed and reads the Bible. I'm sorry, if the options are like the people who read the Bible or don't, marijuana or no, like you'd rather want to have them reading the Bible. He said the Bible was beautiful when he's stoned. Let's shift gears a little bit. You're watching cBass After Dark. Call me if you want, or join me on the Google Cast here if you are so inclined and technically able. A couple of stories I saw go by that I do want to bring to your attention, and here's a good one. I like frat boys, not for the reason that other frat boys like frat boys. Frat boys and their socialization culture is really great, I suppose. But then there's the ugly side of fraternities. In fact, it's probably mostly ugly. But let's go ahead and look at this, because this is anything but. This is so beautiful. The idiocy, the sort of... I remember thinking in psychology class a million years ago in university, they called it groupthink. Groupthink is how the shuttle Challenger exploded, for instance. I mean, we all know the O-ring and the pressure and the temperature and stuff on the Space Shuttle Challenger. That's what caused it to explode. But why was it allowed to launch in weather that was not suitable, thus causing the O-ring to fail? And it was groupthink. In other words, it was sort of the group of people all together, and nobody wanted to speak up and say, no, excuse me, this is wrong. I might get fired for saying this, but I'm going to speak truth. Nobody would speak truth to power. If ever there was an example of speaking truth to power and what that meant, I think the Space Shuttle Challenger would be a good example of it, because everybody knew there were certain temperature limitations, when you can and cannot launch the space shuttle, and the temperature was colder than the temperature limitations, and nobody said anything, from my understanding of the investigation afterward. Thus, groupthink. Groups kind of lose certain logic and reason and critical thinking ability when they are in groups. And this is an example of that. I take you to rawstory.com. It's a brand new news story here. And let me screen share it with you here. The fraternity at the University of Oklahoma is being investigated after a racist sing-along goes viral. I don't know if we're going to be able to hear it. I actually haven't played the video, but the University of Oklahoma is investigating. I think they've since suspended the on-campus fraternity after a video of the frats singing a racist song was posted online and went viral. Tulsa World says the national president of Sigma Alpha Epsilon, I had a boyfriend in SAE once, said Sunday evening. That's this evening, I think. Is that today? Like this is today's date here? Can I get a date on this? 8 March 20. Okay, so this is in the past couple hours. This is really new. Let's hear the video.
There'll never be a nigger I see. There'll never be a nigger I see. You're hanging from a tree, but it'll never stop me. There'll never be a nigger.
Okay, well, there it is. You can hear it clearly. And something about hanging them from a tree is the line about lynching, apparently. A cease and desist order comes hours after OU President David Boren opened an investigation. From his own Twitter account, the president of Oklahoma University tweeted, "If the video is indeed of OU students, the behavior will not be tolerated and is contrary to all of our values, and they're investigating." We heard the video. And then, whatever with these. By the way, please note, if you ever see this tiny line above links that look like clickbait, like this, 15 theories Republicans find offensive. Hey, Game of Thrones fans, you haven't lived until you've seen whatever. This is what your childhood crushes look like now. This is all clickbait, what they call, right? This company, Taboola, does only that and gets enormous clicks and probably revenue from it. The other story I wanted to bring to bear, if I may. Let's see here. I believe I'm sharing the correct screen. Okay, here we go. What I wanted to do is replace this video or this image with this Huffington Post story from February 6th. And this is a couple of months ago, obviously, or a couple of weeks ago, I guess I should say. Jack White of the White Stripes blacklists, or his agency blacklists, University of Oklahoma for publishing his guacamole recipe and this contract. This is shifting gears entirely now from fraternities and racism, but I don't know why this is such a big deal, but it's also kind of a weird, really celebrity bizarre kind of a thing to do. Okay, let's just read the story. Attendees of Jack White's concert better have had their fill because the musician isn't coming back anytime soon. The school paper published his contract, obtaining it by FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. In addition to disclosing that OU spent more than $80,000 to bring in Jack White, the document contained other amusing tidbits, including White's preferred guacamole recipe. It must be homemade, fresh, and chunky. The band's strict no banana policy, and what's presumably White's personal meal of a New York strip steak, prepared medium, no sauce, with clean steamed vegetables on the side. And this kind of thing here. No bananas. Please note, this is a no banana tour. Seriously. We don't want to see any bananas anywhere in the building. During the show, White reportedly addressed the publication, telling concertgoers, just because you can type it on your computer doesn't make it right. So it's almost like the Oklahoma Daily, the newspaper, defended its decision, saying his contract wasn't something we leaked. It's public information any of you could request. So I support that in the journalism way, whatever. And I do support that, celebrities' quirks ought to be sort of blown out for everybody to see. But I don't think that the no bananas thing would make me avoid going to that concert if I was a fan. It's a bit silly of him. It's like the people who want green M&Ms or whatever. And, again, his specific guacamole recipe, so fucking what? Like, who cares? Let's see here. Jack White would like to thank his concert attendees, blah, blah, blah. The students who helped organize the event were wonderful. Playing in and for the people of Oklahoma is one of Jack White's favorite tour stops. At no time did Jack White or White's management say we would never play there again. That is untrue. The incidents with the OU Daily paper reporting the financial terms of the show, the private tour writer information, were unfortunate, unprofessional, and unwelcoming. The show was one of many on the tour directed at playing for university students. The band was thrilled, blah, blah, blah. By the way, now that it's out there, we recommend you try Lalo's guacamole recipe. It's delicious. So, again, I'm just amused by that sort of thing. Like, okay, what celebrities have to have in order to, the amount of money, I suppose, is a concern, I guess, if you think that your money ought to be spent on better things in a university context. I don't really object to that. Those are just a couple of the news stories I sort of isolated and flagged as something I wanted to talk about. Let's see here. There were a couple of other things I thought I wanted to talk about. The Jinx, that's it. Another show I'm into lately. If you've seen murder mysteries or anything like that, you may be aware of, especially real murder mysteries, not like Law and Order. Excuse me, I've got an itch on my back shoulder. Law and Order SVU, for instance. That's a cheap, crappy show that I kind of like to watch as a guilty pleasure. It's not horrible, but it's formulaic, and it's how it's usually going to end, and it's very, very little happens that's surprising or new or interesting at all. In fact, I've kind of stopped watching it because it's just got so bad. But real murder mystery documentaries. I think of Dateline Saturday night. Dateline on NBC does this kind of Saturday night 2-hour long show. Whereas my mom likes to say they stretch a 45-minute mystery into 2 hours. So what you get is tons of commercial breaks, tons of sort of not backpedaling, but retreading and rewinding and sort of re-reviewing stuff we were previously already heard. And it's just, they really stretch it out. And Keith Morrison, who I like as a reporter for the most part, is sort of, I don't know if he's made to or if he writes them this way legitimately, but either way, these narrations that he engages in Dateline, the killer returned to the scene of the crime, or did he? And it's just like really, you could just tell it's stretched beyond reason. But there is a show on HBO currently. It's called The Jinx. It's about a guy named Robert Durst, who is a rich, he's from a rich real estate family in New York or something like that. I believe the family that he is from is now the people in charge of finishing and then currently managing the new World Trade Center building, the Freedom Tower, whatever it's called. But this guy, Durst, Bob Durst, had a wife who disappeared in 1982. Mysterious circumstances. He had a female friend, who turned out, she didn't know she was the daughter of a mobster in Vegas, but found out at some point, somebody released a book and it became clear that she was the daughter of a mobster in Vegas. And then 18 years later, in the year 2000, that woman who was the daughter of a mobster and a friend of the guy whose wife disappeared, she turned up dead. Not disappeared, but dead in her house, execution style, single bullet, back of the head, no forced entry to the house, no nothing. And it's the speculation of this kind of continuing documentary series is that she might have known something about the disappearance of Durst's wife in 1982, and 18 years later, as they were re-investigating the cold case, of course, Durst, the guy, is not in jail. He's interviewed with these documentarians saying, well, this is a politically motivated DA. And I do believe that happens. Me, Sebastian, I believe that happens. A politically motivated DA trying to sort of, run for office or do something else and really nail him in the process. But he comes off as kind of sketchy. He's got one of those tics, where he blinks. Some people have the nose crinkle. Some people have it on one side or the other side. It's a form of Tourette syndrome. It's an actual disorder. And I kind of feel bad for the people who have it, frankly, because they can't control it. But at the same time, the two people I've known in my life, one of them was my middle school librarian who would do that blink thing at times, just kind of apparently randomly. I mean, she's a school librarian. Very little was ever stress as far as my interactions with her. And then one of them was a friend of mine who I used to work with. And he did the nose crinkle. And it was actually kind of cute in a very endearing way. It was not suspicious or anything. But this guy, Robert Durst, has this crinkle, this tic, that it seems to pop up every time he's saying something or remembering something about the crimes he was supposedly not involved in, or, it almost seems like it's a dead giveaway that he's lying, almost. Because it happens at after the same kind of information is brought up. Anyway, it's a 6-part documentary. Each part is about 45 minutes long. The 5th part aired tonight on HBO, and I watched it. I've been trying to wrap my brain around it. I've been catching pieces. You know how you do. Catch pieces of a show. It finally clicked in my head who was who and what was happening. The guy had a wife that disappeared in 82, a friend that turned up murdered execution style. They're having trouble placing him in the same city as where the murder took place, but he was in the same state, and there may be some evidence, but there's not really any evidence. They couldn't pin it on him. Then he moves to Galveston, Texas, and he's a grumpy old man by then, but he moved to Galveston, rented an apartment under a woman's name, and sort of was doing the drag thing for a while, like dressing up as a woman And then he got caught, not dressed up as a woman, but he had $500 in his pocket, and for one reason or another, he stole a sandwich and was arrested. And then this guy who was his neighbor, who he was kind of friends with, turned up dead. Not just dead, dismembered. And the jury in Galveston, Texas, found him not guilty of that murder by reason of, because the story he told was also compelling. There was no evidence to say that it was premeditated murder. It was this guy, the grumpy guy next door, who did have guns and savvy of guns, and was grumpy and sort of a little bit explosive at times, temperamental wise, if you believe the defense. And during a struggle for the gun one night, when they were both probably drunk or high or something, the gun went off, killing the guy. And because the defense said, because he was this guy who'd been involved with a wife who disappeared, a friend of his who died in the execution style, that he's going to be seen in a guilty light. So that's why he dismembered the body and tried to get rid of it without calling the police. And then the police were going to wonder why he rented the apartment under a woman's name, and so on and so on. And he didn't want to unravel his little weave of whatever. It's pretty compelling shit. Got everything going for it as far as compelling TV, a documentary TV about a murder case. Dateline NBC, frankly, could take a page out of it, because they could take a hint, because they do too much with the retreading. The commercial breaks they can't avoid, but Keith Morrison's voiceover, it's just too much. It's like really bad. And if they were to make their show a little bit more like the HBO documentary, a little more real, a little faster, and a little less fluffed up and stretched out, it would be a lot better. I'm over my time. Not that I have to stop. I'm currently in a place where the daylight savings time did not have to change, so I'm still on my regular clock. Many of you got cheated an hour last night. Just killed the daylight savings time thing already. Watch Jon Stewart. Maybe I'll talk about Jon Stewart tomorrow. We had another really great show tonight. And hey, make it a great Monday, everyone. Hope you had a good weekend, and we'll see you in 22 hours, 58 minutes from now on cBas After Dark.